Welcome to our children's campus, and I'm going to sound like I'm shouting at you a little bit because we have a lot of kids playing behind me here at one of our playgrounds, but I wanted to give you a little bit of an experience of what it's like living here at Project Canaan in Eswatini, Africa. When we started this journey together, I told you that I was adopted as a baby, and because of a decision that a 15-year-old girl made in 1963, I was born. And because of the decision that her mother made to have me put up for adoption, I ended up with a wonderful adoptive family. And it was there that I learned who Jesus was. My mother loved the Lord, and I was introduced to him at a very young age. And then I went on to Christian University and became a business person. And Jesus kind of slipped down in my priority list to number 3. And then 9/11 happened, the towers fell, I was in New York City, and all of a sudden Jesus was back at the top of my list again. And I really started following him and asking him, what do you want me to do, Lord? What do you want me to do? That journey led me to Africa, and now I live here in Eswatini, Africa. And you know, it's interesting because I often have conversations with young girls who find themselves pregnant, and they're ashamed, or maybe their grandmother comes to me and says, this, you know, my 13-year-old granddaughter or great-granddaughter is pregnant. She was raped by someone. Can you help us? And I'm able to share with her my personal story. I can tell her about my mother being pregnant at 15 years old. And there was shame. There was shame in 1963, and there's shame now. But God had a plan for my life. And as I often say to these young girls, only God can make a baby. And God made me, and God made you. And he made us all for a reason. He has a plan for your life. And you know, I used to think when I was young, even as a believer, that God was kind of trying to trick me. You know, we're told to be obedient. We need to ask him, what are we supposed to do with our lives? You know, what does he want me to do? And then God would be silent. And then you're just supposed to wait. And like, am I supposed to go here, or am I supposed to go here? And he's waiting for us to trip up. But that's not true. God is our loving Heavenly Father. And just like I, as a mother, want my children to be obedient to me, I want that obedience because I want them to be healthy and safe. If I tell my daughter Chloe, don't touch the fire, it's out of a place of love. You know, I don't want her to touch the fire so she doesn't get burned. I want her to go to school because then she's going to learn and she will have a future. And that's how God is with us. He wants us to obey him and follow him because he has great plans for us. Now, I know you're thinking, I hope I don't have to move to Africa, but look behind me. I love my life here. I can't even imagine if I wasn't here. But I'll tell you, when Ian first started talking about buying this land, and we started, you know, we had a name for it. We were calling it Project Canaan because it's the land flowing with milk and honey. Yikes, I just didn't know what to do. And I thought, what do I have to offer? You know, I'm a marketer. I'm a salesperson. Ian, I understand because he's an economics major, and he can help us work on this road to sustainability, which is so important to us. But what am I going to do, Lord? What am I going to do? And I, you know, I'm not a pastor, I'm not a teacher, but he was very clear with me that he had a plan for me in this big picture. And it's funny, you know, because we had nannies for our kids, and now I'm helping hire and train staff to be caring for these children. And God has a plan for their lives. You know, we're parents to more than 300 children. Probably 200 of them are behind me right now. All of those kids are in school, and God has a plan for their lives. We bought this land in 2009. In 2019, we celebrated our 10th anniversary. In 2029, the kids graduate from high school. So you think about that, like 2029, and we'll have our first high school graduating class. And then there's the tricky part, because what do kids do after that? And you know, we often talk about we're growing the future leaders of this nation. But just the other day, one of the aunties said to me, we are growing a new nation. We're growing a new nation. And many years ago, before we had this land, the Lord gave me a vision. And he showed me an ark. And he said to us, you're to build an ark. You're to bring children onto the ark. I am going to wipe out the nation, and those children will be the remnant. Can you imagine? And I didn't know what he was talking. I didn't understand it. And you know, how does God talk to us? How do we hear God? But I knew that he was telling us to build an ark and the children were coming. Little did I know that only a few years later, I would be mother to 300 plus children. And these children are the future. They're not only the future of this country of Eswatini, but they're the future of the continent. These children will go all over the world. We have one child right now, and he's concerned about the underground church in China. And now it's a little bit warped because he's wondering why they have to go to church underground, but he's concerned about the underground church in China, and he's only in 4th grade. So God has a plan for each of their lives. God has a plan for your life. And my prayer today is that you will take a moment, many moments, every day and stop and say, Lord, what do you want me to do? What do you have planned for me? And for us, fortunately, he didn't tell us the big picture plan. He didn't say you're going to be parents to 300 children. Because honestly, I think I would have curled up in a fetal position and just, gone to suck my thumb maybe. But he just said, take this step, and take this step, and take this step. And each step, we started with one baby, and then a second child, and then a third child. And now we have 300 children. We never would have known. We never would have known that that was what God's plan was. So today, I want to encourage you to be courageous. Read Joshua. He tells us to be strong and courageous. And I'll tell you, to follow Jesus, it does take courage. And you do have to be brave because it's not easy. This is not a cakewalk. And even if he doesn't move you to Africa, which is unlikely to happen, following him is hard. Like, since we moved here, we've had people break into our house. And people that we know broke into our house. We've had floods, and that wasn't human done. God allowed flooding. We've had fires that have wiped out the entire property and burned everything, including our chapel, but no other building was injured or burnt, and no child was hurt. It was just miraculous how he protected us. We've had betrayals. We've had sickness. We've had injury. It has been hard. Following Jesus is hard. But it's wonderful at the same time. Don't be afraid of that, because he's always there. Walking in the presence of the Lord there's just nothing like it. And every single morning I wake up and say, Lord, what do you want me to do today? What do you want me to do today? Who am I talk to today? What am I supposed to say on this video to you today? That is my heart's desire, is what do you want me to do today? Who do you want me to touch today? I might get a set of twins today. I might not get a new baby today. I might be able to just sit and play with these children for the rest of the day. Or I might be able to go to the school and serve there. But God has a plan for your life, just as he has a plan for my life, just as he has a plan for all the children behind me. So be strong and courageous. Ask him. I promise you that he will answer. It's a wonderful, wonderful way to live. And I honestly, imagine if I hadn't done this, if my husband hadn't been obedient, what would that have done to our children? We have 2 biological children, Spencer and Chloe. And the example that we've been able to be to them has grown their faith. And those 2, one is 27, one is 25, they're adults. And they are our biggest supporters, they are our biggest fans, and they believe that all of these children are their brothers and sisters. And they're joining us and helping us grow this new nation. So today, take a moment when you're finished, just be quiet, pause, and ask the Lord, Lord, what do you want me to do? And then have the courage to do what he asks you to do. Pick up that phone, make a call, go for a walk. Just be strong and courageous. And he will never leave you nor forsake you. Thanks for joining me on this journey, and I hope that your faith journey is spectacular.